It's the 49ers. Burner at wide receiver. He's coming up a nice performance, bringing in a pair of touchdowns. It's the 49ers and the Huskies, and it kicks off next on Madden NFL 24. We are pleased as always to be bringing you coverage of the National Football League on EA Sports. Today we got an interesting Week 11 matchup on tap, as it'll be the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Huskies of Baker Ridge. Along with Charles Davis, I'm Brandon Gordon, and partner, look at this Anchorage team entering play. They come and play pretty good football, winners of 4 of their last 6 games. On the other side of the field, for visiting 49ers, they were losers their last time out. They're going to try to get back in the win column, but obviously they're going to have to do that in a hostile environment.
And sometimes it actually works to your advantage. Now you've got to band together your team, the us against the world mentality. Let's see if they can use it and get a victory.
The NFL season is hit high gear. Off we go in Week 11 on EA Sports. And he opts to not bring this one out. The first drive will start at the 25. So here's the first drive now for the 49ers. And led on by their veteran quarterback. He's been around a while. They don't celebrate birthdays, so they just cut him up, see how many rings he's got around the field. He has been in the league a long time. Throwing the out route incomplete. That's Jenkins. And he takes us beyond the 35 before going out of bounds. And now it looks like we're going to get a timeout here. We've got a man shaken up. Well, now they're going to come out and take a look at this injury, and we'll be back in a moment. Line of scrimmage, the 37 on 1st and 10. And he slips up past the 45 before being tackled. The Niners have the first down on a gain of 11. That O-line, they cleared a big hole there on that run.
And Dallas, you're repeating that.
Lines continues to evolve, and we're seeing it here. Not only the controlling things right
You know, as they would some women be like, a man has to earn my femininity. If he doesn't do certain things, I'm just not going to be feminine. How do you just turn your femininity on and off? It really doesn't matter if you are with a machinist or with a man that makes 6 figures. Either you're feminine or you're not. You can't just turn it on and off like a light switch. And even if you do have this type of mindset, I do have a couple of questions for you. Is your body count good? Do you cook and clean every single day? Do you greet your man by the door every day before when he comes home? Do you know how to act accordingly when things are not going so well? Do you know how to follow a man's lead? Do you call your man bro? Can't stand them sometimes. They always request things, but then they just don't.
And now a decision here on the opening drive. 4th and very short, this part of the field. What do you think they do, CD?
I think you go for it. I think there's a lot of game left to be played. I like the advantage of the trying to create here early. I say be aggressive and try and get it done.
Well, that opening drive looked good for a moment there, but they'll wind up being turned away thanks to the missed field goal.
And those especially hurt when you come into a game on the road. You're trying to get things to go your way early, and now you suffer a setback right out of the
Okay, so I didn't give up on the wig, but the story of this toss play got here, and so did the frog told it. And it got me thinking, and I want to teach you guys a little bit of something. The Legend of Zelda, Final Fantasy, all these different games, 90% of the time, the guy, gal, whatever, has the sword mounted on their back. And easily in battle, they draw it. You see the problem? You cannot. You can't do it. You can't do it. And you know why? Because that's not realistic. If you were a real knight somewhere, what they would do is they would mount it on their hip so that you could draw it from here. The only reason you'd put a sword on your back is if you were traveling a long distance, and therefore the cover carrier, whatever you want to call it, would have some kind of intricate design. But nobody is pulling these from their back. There's no way.
Out of the gun now.
There's no way. Anyway, that was a history lesson. Bye.
Getting it inside the 35. It's a 10-yard pickup, and that's enough to move the chains.
And fire.
They'll run on first down. Young, and he can only manage.
I got invited to plug in karaoke for the release of Joker, Fully Awake. I threw together my best.
They'll keep it on the ground. Young, and he'll go down at the 28. 4 yards on the pickup there as it'll leave him with a third and about 4 more for first.
Healthy Choice's Steam Tray. Deliciousness is here. Healthy Choice. The smart choice.
Wasn't down from budget.
Those boys do convert on third.
That means that the Senate Finance Committee is the place where they will vote on whether to advance his nomination to the full Senate floor. If that occurs, it will be up to Republican leadership as to when they want to schedule his full Senate confirmation vote.
And the Huskies will jump on top of the game's first score here this afternoon.
Of the U.S. healthcare system.
I do not know the answer to that. I look forward to exploring options with good.
Committee has another hearing on Thursday in the Senate Health Committee, which does not have jurisdiction. That means that the Senate Finance Committee is the place where they will vote on whether to advance his nomination to the full Senate floor. If that occurs, it will be up to Republican leadership as to when they want to schedule his full Senate confirmation vote.
Right down the middle, and that makes the score 7-0. So that lines up a 7-play drive all told.
There's only breaking news right now. Bob Menendez is going to be speaking after being sentenced to 11 years in prison. Let's
back out there comes the 49ers defense ready for their second drive. Yeah, they were in field goal range last time out, but couldn't connect.
And it's early in the game, so I don't think that the confidence just goes entirely out of, running your kicker back out there. But let's face it, some coaches have a little bit less patience for that than others. Let's see if they call it differently now in terms of what they do on drives and not try to settle for field goals.
Purdy to throw again on 2nd and 10. He finds his
man. It's started here.
That's Nash.
And the ball to him. 19 yards.
They'll need 5 on this play to move the sticks.
All to him. 19 yards.
Right to the right sideline.
Looks like a second empty possession to start the game, and certainly not the way you want to start when you're coming off of a loss last week. Every team talks about starting fast. They're hoping on their next possession, it can be a delayed fast start and get them going.
Fair catch called for and made right at the 25-yard line. So a change of possession here on the punt. And out will come the offense as they take over.
HBK and the Undertaker have made an executive decision to
on first down.
It's
Bonner.
Really faster.
So he'll be stopped here for no gain, and it'll be second down. You look at this Niner defense. They've certainly had their struggles against the run at the 30th ranked unit out of 32 teams in the NFL.
The numbers are definitely not in their favor, but every time I click on the film and watch them, I see stretches where they play against the run really well. Their biggest problem, when they give up those explosive runs, those 30, 40, 50-yard runs, that'll really mess up your averages.
So from a guy that usually has something to say about everything that speaks us.
Coming up. Right where this set of downs started, they need a full 10 here to pick up the first down and move the chains. On the move to his left. And caught out. And now it's scooped up by the 49ers. And that play just looked a little helter-skelter from the start. That's the risk as a quarterback. Once you take off with that football, you might fumble it, and he did.
And he was going for the reward, which is gaining yardage, breaking down the defense. But you're right about the risk. Always lurking out there, someone always trying to get to the football. Try to find a place to cover up and slide and protect what you've earned.
So from the 39 now, they'll come up on a 1st and 10. Following the fumble recovery.
Good evening and welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Jessica Clemens. During the holiday season when the children are nestled all snug in their
was nice work there defensively to force incompletion. Now, even though this drive started in plus territory, they're still not in field goal range yet. So they can work towards another couple of stops and not allowing that turnover to hurt.
They get 6. That'll leave them with 3rd and 4.
It's not a huge breakaway run, but if your starting running back finishes the game with averages of 5 or 6 yards per touch, you'll take that every single time.
Purdy from the gun on 3rd down. Able to find the open man. That's complete. And he'll be taken down, but he does have 1st down yardage.
Holding. Offense.
And this 3rd down looking very tough after the holding penalty. 3rd and long. Throwing here, Purdy. That's complete to Bolden. 2 yards on the pickup there. And it'll be 4th down.
Partner, I think that completion takes the definition of dink and dunk to a different level, doesn't it?
It does, and the defense was right there. Could have played into their hands. And he missed it. It's no good. And this will stay at a 7-point game.
Brandon, anything beyond 50, you start rolling the dice a bit. And once you get up around 57 to 58 yards, the chances of making it go down dramatically. And sure enough, this one winds up no good.
Out comes Anchorage to take over offensively. And, you know, it's certainly a lot of football left to play. We're not into December yet, but right now where we stand, they're in 1st place in their division, looking really good and looking to be a threat come January.
And are you one of those early holiday shoppers, partner? Are you one of those guys that you list them? Because think about what every team has on their holiday shopping list right now. What's the number 1 goal? Make the playoffs. Number 2, win your division. Number 3, and I think the biggest goal of all, try to get the number 1 seed so you get that 1st round bye and ensure you don't have to go anywhere in January and hopefully get to the Super Bowl that way.
So the challenge there does not go their way. This will indeed remain a completed pass. On 1st down, it's Young. And he'll be brought down just outside of the 30.
But no matter how they phrase it, staying on schedule, staying ahead of the sticks, whatever you want to call it, 7 yards on 1st down, that fits the bill.
Taking it right down Broadway. And touchdown. His 4th rushing touchdown on the campaign, number 7 overall. And the Huskies have taken a 2-touchdown lead now. Well, they've done a pretty good job keeping him in check to that point, but he finally breaks off a nice run here and gets into the end zone.
And it just takes one, doesn't it, partner? That can undo a lot of good work that a defense has done to that point. You break off one right there, and everything suddenly looks bad for you.
Extra point splits the uprights, and it's now 14-0. Set now to kick this one away, and off it goes. And it'll come out to the 25 as he will not attempt to return. And San Francisco gets set to go here. And they're in a bind early here, down 14-0. Are you worried at this stage or still too early?
You're worried. You're just trying not to transmit it to the rest of your team. You want to make sure that they stay positive. But at the same time, you're wondering, how are we going to move the football? What do we have on this play sheet that can work? Get back to basics is usually your answer. And make sure you find the guy who can move the ball fastest for you if you just get it in his hands.
Yeah, still 2nd quarter. You get points on the board here. I think you're feeling okay. Now a deep ball there on 2nd down, but it'll wind up incomplete.
Zone coverage there, and they were playing deep. That makes it obviously a little bit harder to run by guys. At that time, there was not much of a window to get the ball in there, and it winds up incomplete.
Purdy. And that is incomplete. The passing game not in sync here early, and now it's 4th down.
Give them credit for excellent coverage, tight coverage. They're doing a lot of things that we talk about in basketball. They're causing disruptions in the passing game. And as long as that continues, it'll be tough for them to gain any momentum throwing the ball downfield.
A 39-yard punt, a return of 5, and they will take over 1st and 10. There again is the running back as he trots onto the field. He's over 40 yards here in the second quarter. Been nice and effective for them, hasn't he?
He has definitely been dependable, and really shouldn't underestimate what he's getting done here, because anytime you're at a pace that's going to approach 100 yards, you've really done some damage in an NFL game.
Well, now he's looking just to add to his totals. Second down and 4. Looking to throw.
Constantly.
Looking left side, and he's got a man. That's Hill. And he's brought down. Second catch for him today, and it'll wind up a first down. Back to throw. Bonner. And he bats it away, and it falls down incomplete.
They decided the opportunity was there and launched a deep ball, but he was unable to get away from the defender. Couldn't create space, couldn't uncover at the end of the route, and that one winds up incomplete.
They do get a yard there, but only a yard. Leaves him with 3rd and 9 looming. 2 minutes to play, first half. It's 14-0. The line to gain is the 33 on 3rd down. They'll stick with the passing game as he looks to throw.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the channel. All of that, we're here to talk about the Nebraska.
Made at the 49ers 25-yard line.
Well, things are definitely going right for them here in the first half. Pick it down, any down, even 3rd down, no problem. They get a connection there and pick up a fresh set of downs, continuing to move the ball.
Again, he'll drop to throw. And it's caught. Touchdown.
This is our never start. All of them. 90% of startups.
In front by 3 touchdowns.
Well, I don't think that we're ready yet to say the route is on, but they have certainly looked near flawless here in this first half, and now an extra point away from making it 21-0.
Yeah, and your experience led you to say that, because we have both seen those 21-0 leads come and go in this league, but this one feels pretty darn secure. And here's the other part: even when people chip away at it, it forces you to be almost perfect on the other side.
The kickoff unit is out on the field, and they will send this one away.
And makes it across the 20 as his guys will set up shop at the 23-yard line. San Francisco set to go on offense once more. Charles, we'll see what they can do here. Not a ton of time left, but enough certainly to get points out of this drive, and they need them right now because they're trailing.
Yeah, and this is exactly why you practice a 2-minute drill all through camp, and at least one practice each week before a game. A minute left, more than enough time to string a few completions together, reach the end zone, and then make that walk back to the locker room just a little more animated.
And he'll be taken down, but not before they work it across midfield.
Now on first down, it's Purdy.
Complete here to the right to Bolden. And he is out of bounds inside the 35. Back-to-back nice gains. That one for 14 yards and another first.
Purdy will set up to throw it here.
And that one will clock here now, just under 30 seconds to go in this first half.
Oh, soft burger, lettuce. Oh, Kings Hawaiian Slider Sunday.
On second down, Purdy.
The Tennessee Titans just got an interesting update on the #1 overall pick for the channel. We're Detroit Lions fans, but we have this channel fully dedicated.
23 seconds to go till halftime.
I think there for a second, literally from the beginning of the season, you were
this defense, because their coverage has been playing at a shutdown level so far, even backed up late. They're forcing incompletions and fighting to keep them out of the end zone as the first half winds down.
A second down pass play there, but it's incomplete. This offense was on the move. Now 2 straight incompletions.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Steve here coming at you with another Tips with Teeth in College Football 25. This video is going to go over what I do and what I look for when putting together a depth chart in my dynasties.
He was open, but he couldn't get it to him. It's incomplete.
Well, how about the coverage we just saw him break out on 3rd down? Dime defense, blanketed the field with extra defensive backs and speed. Unable to find an open hole to complete that pass.
And his kick is good. And the deficit drops now from 21 down to 18. Well, still trailing here, but they do get the late field goal. Now their defense will try to keep this score right where it is heading into the locker room.
Yeah, and trailing it to break, you obviously don't want to go in off of a negative play. Give them credit for that one. Finding a way to put points on the board. Give them any type of a spark, anything to build off of as they try and plan a comeback.
A candidate in history, former Republican President Theodore Roosevelt.
So we reach halftime in what's been a fairly one-sided game so far. As we send you to our EA studios in Orlando, here's Jonathan Coachman.
Disappointed that his hand-picked successor Taft had abandoned many of his policies, Roosevelt had actually tried to wrest the Republican nomination away from him.
Let's see what's going on around
the NFL. At that point, he could have chosen to borrow a prisoner. This is Teddy Roosevelt.
I stand up to John trying to gut this one out as it would be a good victory for them.
Running under the banner of the new Progressive Party, popular Roosevelt emphasized Taft's re-election bid. But TR's candidacy had an unintended consequence. By splitting the Republican vote, he allowed the Democrat, Wilson, to win the White House. Number 28, Woodrow Wilson, Democrat, 1913 to 1921, 56 years old, from New Jersey.
As you can see, the score there in the second quarter. The Steelers try to hold on and claim victory.
Today, however, he occupies a secure position in that exclusive pantheon of great presidents.
A Southerner by birth, Thomas Woodrow Wilson was an academic, the only president to hold a Ph.D. He served as president of Princeton University from 1902 until 1910, when he left to become governor of New Jersey. That would be his only elected office before he became President of the United States. Wilson was a thoughtful, religious man, an avid golfer. He enjoyed movies and vaudeville shows. Publicly, he was perceived as a human machine, cold and academically methodical about his decision-making.
Primarily, he couldn't be that charming on the Sunday at the sing songs and the shows about him. That was very much a part of it. So public Wilson succeeded often to mostly with private soul. With not just the people often with
Wilson's most important political asset was his skill with the spoken word. He wasn't afraid to use it. He was the first president since John Adams to deliver his State of the Union messages to Congress in person. When he became president, Wilson tried to bring a bit of the ivory tower to the Oval Office.
Wilson was a collegial leader, a college box effect makes sense. They said at cabinet meetings he wasn't the boss. He was more like the first among equals, so they would discuss things very freely.
In his first term, Wilson focused on fulfilling the progressive domestic agenda he called the New Freedom. One of his enduring contributions was to create the Federal Reserve to manage the U.S. currency system.
It was one of the remarkable successes of Wilson's administration. It has persisted since 1913, and it has done a remarkably good job of maintaining the stability of the currency.
In the summer of 1914, Woodrow Wilson faced two great crises.
That's good for a gain of 6, and that'll make it second down.
Just as the guns of August signaled the start of World War I, the president's wife, Ellen, died of a kidney ailment.
Purdy now to throw.
Ellen Wilson.
Now they set up the screen.
Wilson was old.
Get it out to midfield. They'll spot it right at midfield at the 50. And we're going to stop play here at least moments.
As he privately mourned his wife, Wilson was faced with an increasingly difficult public dilemma. Most Americans wanted nothing to do with the Great War in Europe, so Wilson pledged neutrality.
From the midfield
But
stripe,
that was
they'll look to
problematic,
throw.
especially with German submarines targeting British bicycle ships
Those are the
that
kinds of
often
plays
carried
right there
American
that show you
civilians
why he's
across
the
the
number
Atlantic.
3 man in the NFL in terms of
In one
receiving
incident,
yards.
the sinking of the Lusitania in 1915, 128 Americans were killed.
As far as Allen is going to Lusitania, most Americans wanted Wilson to keep his head, which he did. He said,
He'll take
from
this down to the
next.
26-yard line.
They simply did not think that
First
this was
down, San
America's fight.
Francisco, the pickup, 14
In
yards.
1915, 17 months after his wife died, Wilson remarried. His bride was a Washington widow named Edith Bowling Gold. The following year, he was narrowly re-elected as president, making him the first Democratic incumbent to win re-election since Andrew Jackson in 1832. With Germany declaring early in 1917 that American shipping would no longer be spared the wrath of submarine warfare, it would be a challenging second term for the domestic-minded president.
Wilson, so saying, it would be an irony of fate for our administration consumed by foreign war. Well, it wasn't, it was tragic. Because that is exactly what
On April 2, 1917, Wilson asked Congress for a declaration of war against Germany. In this famous war message, he minted what would become an enduring theme in American foreign policy: the world must be made safe for democracy.
Shipping peace and safety to all nations, and not the world itself belongs free. That's how I meant the speech. It was really one of the great speeches in American history.
In the beginning of America's involvement in the war, Wilson was
the gap here in the third quarter with their first touchdown of the game.
Moody good with the extra point, and it makes the score 21-10. So this drive spans 7 plays, and it's culminated by a 2-yard touchdown run. And in hindsight, probably should have taken a knee as he only gets this out to the 16-yard line. Here's the Anchorage offense back out now. Their lead down to 2 scores after the touchdown a moment ago as they start with a 1st and 10.
Must be made safe for democracy.
Shipping peace and safety to all nations, and not the world itself belongs free. That's how I meant the speech. It was really one of the great speeches in American history.
Now a handoff up the middle. Young.
In the beginning of America's involvement in the war, Wilson was focused on his vision for the peace. And central to that vision was his idea for the League of Nations, an international body that could settle disputes without bloodshed and bring an end to war. The League would become his great obsession. As a war president, Wilson mostly kept his hands off, let U.S. Army General John Blackjack Pershing take care of the details.
John J. Pershing said that Woodrow Wilson gave him only one order: maintain a separate American army. Wilson had brought the United States into the war late and for our own reasons. One of the ways to make sure that we emphasized how separate our commitment to the war was to keep a separate army.
Operating from the gun.
The First Family aided the war effort by grazing sheep on the White House lawn and auctioning off the wool to raise money for the Red Cross. But the man who sought to make the world safe for democracy turned a blind eye to Democratic suppression at home. When Congress passed the Sedition and Espionage Acts of 1918, which made it a crime to criticize the government.
Wilson would not accept this abortion in a direct way, but in fact acquiesced in the suppression of fundamental civil liberties in the duration of the war.
Overseas, the arrival of the American army proved decisive for the Allies. 19 months after Wilson declared war, Germany surrendered. The final terms of the peace would be decided at a conference in Paris. Although no sitting U.S. president had ever traveled to Europe, there was no question that Woodrow Wilson would make the trip. He set sail for France on December 4, 1918, carrying with him the hopes of the world for peace that would last for all time.
I kind of feel like they've reached
He was
a
viewed in
do-or-die
raptures.
point in this game, Charles. If they're
He
going to
was
try to
regarded
prove an
as the
aggressive
embodiment
comeback,
of
it
his
has to
fresh
start right
new
here, right
force,
now.
they decided to throw up this horrible bloody contract to them.
They've got to move the ball and move it fast. In addition, they need to save as much time so
you
they can
got to
get to
Paris, to London, to Rome. Children threw roses in his feet. Millions of people turned out to see him. He was the hero, the savior out of the West. Wilson had to make many compromises in Paris, but when the treaty was finally signed at the Palace of Versailles, he had gotten what he wanted most, a provision for the establishment of the League of Nations. Still, as he sailed for home, there was one stumbling block remaining, approved by the Republican-controlled U.S. Senate.
And they're still picking up sacks as we approach the end of this one.
In Washington, Wilson faced vehement opposition from Senator Henry Cabot Lodge, the powerful Republican chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee.
Wilson came home from Paris, he insisted on hand-delivering the treaty to the Senate. And when he got to the Senate door, Henry Cabot Lodge asked Wilson if he could carry in the treaty. Wilson turned to Lodge and said, "Not under law, Senator."
Refusing to negotiate with the Senate, Wilson sought to rally public opinion for the treaty. To do so, set out physically demanding cross-country skiing tours.
He never listened to his doctor, kept saying, "Take it easy on this trip, don't straight as I insisted on doing." Within public home, suddenly was overcome, specifically times, and he had to curtail his arms from the return to Washington. It was time for a severe threat. Wilson was seriously impaired by that stroke. From October 1919 to March 1929, the United States really didn't have much of a chief executive in the Middle East.
Edith Wilson was fiercely protective of her husband. He kept most visitors away, tried to cover up the severity of his condition. She also took it upon herself to relay important matters of state to the president. Report back what Wilson was thinking.
For the 18 months, the way as if he would almost say that indeed Mrs. Wilson was attending Huskies. Wilson's goal was clear, so he could political gridlock that spread over the capital at this terribly crucial moment with the League and the treaty at stake.
On March 19, 1920, the alien president was informed of the treaty. Therefore, the League of Nations met its final defeat in the Senate. He replied, "They have shamed us in the eyes of the world." Wilson's failure to compromise had far-reaching implications. Without U.S. support, the League of Nations proved ineffective, setting the stage for another generation to fight another world war.
I happen to think if Wilson had been healthy, he would have given enough ground so that the Senate would have had to go along the Treaty of Versailles. The United States would have joined the League of Nations. And the course of world history over the next 20 years might have been materially different.
Despite his failure to get the treaty ratified, Woodrow Wilson had succeeded in laying a cornerstone for a new relationship between America and the world.
That idea of what the proper role statesmen in the world ought to be, Wilson was the first president to grapple with that whole set of problems and ideas. We're still trying to sort that out today.
Woodrow Wilson appeared on the $100,000 bill, the largest American denomination ever printed, never circulated, it was only used by the Federal Reserve and the Treasury Department. In 1920, Americans were tired of war abroad and progressive programs at home. The high-minded rhetoric of Woodrow Wilson had lost its appeal. It was in a conservative mood. Number 29, Warren G. Harding, 1921 to 1923, 55 years old, from Ohio. Warren Harding is the only president to be elected on his birthday. In his successful campaign, he touted a return to normalcy. We're not going to do anything big and ambitious. We're going to create a period in which things are quiet. A former newspaperman, Harding was the seventh president born in the state of Ohio. No one ever accused him of being a cold fish. He was an extrovert, a gambler, a drinker, and allegedly a womanizer. He also played the Super
with it
Bowl.
on 3rd and long.
He liked to be around people, he liked to go out and like to shot people in the back. That's actually a rather valuable trait for skills.
Harding had been portrayed as someone who wasn't fit to be president, but he lacked intellect and ambition.
People will say that he didn't want to be president, or that he didn't have the self-confidence to do it. He did want to be president. He was a savvy man in his politics, and he did have a very strong sense for what he wanted to accomplish.
Harding wasn't the type of president who thought he'd have all the answers.
Mr. Harding said that he was inviting the best minds into the cabinet. He had a very real sense this was the case. His Secretary of State was Charles Edward Hughes, who was a distinguished man. His Secretary of Commerce was Herbert Hoover. This was a good job.
Harding's most important achievement was the Budget and Accounting Act of 1921. Passed at Harding's urging, it gave the executive branch greater control over federal spending, and for the first time in history, required the president to submit an annual budget to Congress. Harding scored the other great success of his presidency when he convened an international conference in Washington that resulted in an historic arms reduction agreement between the naval powers of the world.
Just 2 minutes
The
remaining here
Washington
in the
Naval
fourth quarter of
Conference
what has
was
been a
a
one-sided
serious
affair.
arms limitation
So it's
arrangement
our home
that was
team here
made
in
in the
possession
20s
of the
and 30s.
football as we
It
come
was
back.
Mr. Harding.
They've got a 3rd down now as they look for one more first
In
down.
the summer of
to help salt this one
1923,
away.
Harding took a train trip west, becoming the first sitting president to visit Alaska.
He's going to get that to his right.
But his health was failing. On July 29th, he arrived at the Palace Hotel in San Francisco and checked into the presidential suite on the 4 days later, with his wife Florence at his bedside, the president suffered a heart attack. Florence pleaded with the doctors to save him, but it was too late.
They'll try and run for it on first
He's
and
dead.
goal. And he will maneuver his way down to about the 7. Give him 2 yards on that one. 2nd and goal now.
So it was a failure. It's hard for such people to understand the enormity of the response to Harding's death.
It would be a short-lived period of grief and reverence. Less than a year after his death, several scandals came to light that forever shattered Harding's image. The most significant scandal involved Harding's Secretary of the Interior, Albert Fall. He was accused of improperly leasing Navy oil reserves at Elk Hills, California, Teapot Dome in Wyoming, to a pair of wealthy oilmen in exchange for an illegal kickback. Teapot Dome, as the affair came to be known, was the most infamous presidential scandal prior to Watergate.
I don't think it was.
Obviously not the case. And how about just how it
Personally benefited from
you
it.
just all of a
He
sudden,
certainly
whoosh,
was
there it
guilty of
is. This thing is
avoiding
pretty much done. And the crowd stayed with it to celebrate
people
because
in
they're
very
like,
significant
let's enjoy
positions.
watching our team play this
Harding's
well.
reputation was
This is
further
fun.
tarnished by the publishing of 2 scandalous
So
books.
for Anchorage,
One
they
insinuated
keep
that
pace
the
for a
president's
playoff
wife,
spot
Florence,
as
had
they move to
poisoned him.
7-3. And they
Another
will
was
hit the
written by
road
Nan
this week
Britton,
to take
a woman
on
who claimed to have
Washington.
had an affair with
Meanwhile, for
Harding
San
and given birth to
Francisco,
his
their
daughter.
luck may have run
These
out as they
sensational
fall
tales were
to
dubious at
4-7
best,
now
but
on the
widely
year.
believed
And they'll
at the
try to get
time.
back to their winning ways next
Today,
week as
Harding
they
is
head to
remembered more
Lambeau
for the
to
scandals
take
that
on the
swirled around him,
Packers.
both real and imagined, than
That'll
anything
do it for
else.
us. I'm Brandon Gaudin.
One
Alongside
historian who has
Charles Davis,
re-examined
thanks to our
Harding's
entire
record
crew as
thinks
well.
history
We'll
has
talk
been
to you next time.
particularly
So long,
unfair to
everybody.
the 29th president.
He was a good president, even verging on an excellent president. His great tragedy was that physically he was unable to live out his term. He was good with the Senate. He was good on foreign affairs. He was good with the budget. And I asked, what more do you wish?
When President Harding died, Vice President Calvin Coolidge was at his father's home in rural Vermont. Coolidge's father, a justice of the peace, swore him in by lantern light over the family Bible. At number 30, Calvin Coolidge, Republican, 1923 to 1929, 52 years old, from Massachusetts.
He was a kind of
Vermont. Coolidge's father, a justice of the peace, swore him in by lantern light over the family Bible.
he was good with the budget. And